Alright, hi everyone. I'm one of the best players of this game, and I thought that, just to be fair, I would just show you a few little tips and things that I can give you on how to get the best times, okay? Now, you may not think that I'm the best player in the world, but I'll leave that up to you, so it's how to you decide. But I'm going to go through some of the things that I look at to help me get the best times. So I'm going to go into settings here. Right. Obviously, if you've got the best video settings and audio settings, then you get the best effects. You can change music in and out race, but I find it a distraction. So, okay, joystick settings. There we go. So you can change your camera views, look back. I wouldn't worry too much about those two. Braking is very important. You need to make sure that you use it as minimally as possible, but also effective as possible, just to make sure that you get your most accurately hit the bends, and that combines with your slide, which I will tell you about later. Thrust is very important to have the accuracy and controlling that you need, and that takes years of practice to get. Of course, every individual course is different, so the way you need to tackle it is also different. Nothing like that. Boost, you need to make sure that most of the time, through most of the course, you want to be boosting. If you've got a longer track, then you need to make sure that you boost at the correct times and make sure that your timing is right, so you don't overheat or underheat. So therefore you get the maximum efficiency out of your racer. Sliding is also a very tactical and efficient way of getting around difficult bends, particularly if they're 180 degrees. So the best way to do this is to decrease your speed as you approach the bend, turn, and then you slide at the last minute, and you should just miss the bend, and you should be then facing the correct direction. So your pod race is in the correct orientation to continue the race. Okay, rolling is more only necessary really to get through small gaps, but if you're good enough, if you're skilled enough, you shouldn't actually need to do it. But it can also make it a little easier and a little bit more likely that you'll complete the course if you use it efficiently, and that's the same for right, left and right. Okay, flame jet and tournement really isn't that important. Repairing, you want to make sure that your pod racer is not damaged, because by having damage it will affect your turning and control of your racer, so this is very important that you make sure that you continuously repair. If you have a knock, you have to make sure that you use that, and it can also be used instead of the brake. That's also another common practice that I use. So if you, for example, damage your racer on a bend, then you use the repair button, which will also slow you down, take off the boost. You take the bend as normal, use your slide and everything else. And pretty much here we have the same thing. Turning, obviously that's just takes practice. You need to make sure you keep close to the bends, particularly when you are boosting, or not boosting probably as it may be, when you're, just to make sure that you get the most accurate and efficient method, because sometimes just turning alone won't be enough to get you records, but that's quite complicated. Brakes the same. Nose up and down, and the control of the pitch is important, depending if you want to hit something at a certain angle to make the race do what you want. You need to practice this. Pretty much everything is down to personal performance and skill. It takes a lot of practice, and there's no hard and fast rules about it, but in general it takes a long time to perfect all these, so that's all I'll say for this. Okay, roll left and right, it's the same thing. Throttle, I spoke about that. Obviously I haven't got my joystick enabled at the moment because it isn't working properly, but I would suggest keep your sensitivity about where it is, because then you have best control over the right and left control, and I don't know what the hell that is. My settings is pretty much the same, I believe. Yes, it is. Right. And yes. Force feedback. Yes, well, you could have that on, but that won't make any difference whatsoever to your controls. Two modes here are the tournament and the free player. Now, normally if you're doing records, you're allowed to use free player. Multiplayer is not acceptable for world records, simply because if there is a way of cheating the game to actually get faster times. So let's say about that. If I go into the tournament mode, let's see, you put your name in. Choose your racer most efficiently. Now the only ones you should need are Mars Guo. I'll just see who else is on here. Mars Guo. Ben Quadinaros is the main person for this, I would say. And Bullseye Navoir. You should be able to set all your records with these races, because they all have the ideal properties. Obviously then select your course if you want. You can use the mirror. It is actually allowed to have the mirror on. You are allowed to set records with the mirror on. I will accept that, because the actual course is no different, it's just a reflection. Obviously you need to choose the ideal person for each course, and you can base this on by using what the world records were set with, because I've tested all the possibilities to why they're more ideal or whatever. Some obviously have freestyles like Bumpy's Breakers, that's a freestyle record, and then that definitely needs beating because that is way below the standard it should be at. Yeah, and that's that pretty much. Obviously after you've chosen your race, whatever, get to this menu. Now there is a bigger menu if you've only just started this, but obviously make sure that you have the maximum upgrades. You can simply do this and you know when you have the limit because all these appear red. So as you scroll through every single one, if you know they're all red, that means you have the top grade performance of your racer, and that's what you want. Is don't bother trying to set records without it because it's just about impossible. Parts, the same thing. Junkyard's pretty bloody useless. And then obviously make sure you use those in the race. Thanks, that's the end of part 1.